Well, hello and welcome to another Daily Dominion. It is Wednesday, so we have a dual set one, and in this case it's Menagerie paired with some Hinterland stuff. And this looks like it's going to be quite the powerful kingdom. And yeah, without further ado, let's look at it. We have Develop, letting you gain 2 cards, costing exactly 1 less or more than the cards you trash onto your deck. Usually leads to complicated pile-out situations. Then also other trashing we have in Scrap, allowing you to have a bunch of options. We have Spice Merchant, Jack of all trades in principle, also gaining you silvers. And for draw we have Sables and Paddock. Paddock allows you to gain 2 horses, and then also it will turn into 2 money and some actions once there are supply piles empty. Now, there are a few supply piles that might empty here, furthermost being, or the first one being Border Village, where Border Village itself is just a normal village, but it costs 6, and when you gain this, you can also gain a cheaper card. And Border Village has a very nice synergy with Kiln as well. If you get to play, I don't know, a Border Village, then a Kiln, and then another Border Village, you will be able to just slurp up 2 more cards. And so if you have a lot of draw in your deck, this allows you to essentially get your hands on loads of Kilns and Border Villages. Kilns themselves are not the most impressive card usually, unless you have abundant actions and draw. But here, with piles emptying and Paddock maybe becoming +1 action, +2 actions, and Stables and Paddock being alright draw, we might get to do some Kiln stuff. And we have Nomads for +buy, also a nice target for Develop, because when gaining and trashing it, you get +2 money. And overall, there are 3 cards giving you +2 money on play. And Snowy Village is also +buy, Scrap can be +buy, and there are 2 landscapes. One is Way of the Seal, and that one allows you to top deck cards when you gain them after you have played an action as Way of the Seal, and it also turns your action into +1 money. One notable synergy here that might come up is that usually Paddock puts the horses into your discard pile, but if you manage to somehow first play an action card using Way of the Seal, you will be able to just top deck the horses and keep your turn going that way. The downside of this is that, well, the next turns, if you use up all of the horses, your paddocks will have to replenish these horses once again. So you need to be a bit careful about this. Stampede, also an interesting event, and that one says if you have 5 or fewer cards in play, you gain 5 horses onto your deck. And yeah, that one does have some merit, I guess, especially in the opening. If you have the 5-2, for example, then you might want to go for it on the 2-5. I'm not sure. But actually, I just realized I forgot to prepare the opening so far, so let me very quickly do this. And I'm back and have prepared everything. Now, here's the kingdom plot first. And there is no attack, there is no alt VP, so just you racing against building a deck that can either pile out with an advance in victory points or just buying out the provinces somehow. And opening wise, I've already teased it. I think on 5-2 you go for a Stampede on turn 1, then turn 2 you might want to play horses until you hit either 6, I'm not completely sure, or just whether you want to hit 4 and then buy a Spice Merchant. And Way of the Seal allows you to then play one of the horses just as a seal, and thus immediately top deck those cards that you gain, and then you want to pivot maybe into Develop stuff to get rid of the estates, then turn them into Scrap, Snowy Village, whatever. and then go from there. On the 4-3, I think it's pretty obvious you want to open Spice Merchant Scrap. I could see Spice Merchant Develop to put the scrap in that way and also have the develop in there already. It's not that outlandish, but maybe having the scrap immediately might be a tiny bit better. Am I talking myself into opening develop? I don't know. I'm not a huge develop fan, to be honest, because it is a card that just completely breaks your brain at some time. Completely breaks your brain sometimes. So I don't know. Anyways, now strategy-wise, I think we're going for big time draw with Paddock and Stables, and then big time gains with Border Village and Kiln, the combo I told you earlier. Maybe some Nomads in there, maybe some Develop in there. The draw is kind of, I mean, looking at the Kingdom plot again, is not amazing. Like Paddock and Stables are okay draw, lab variants at best. But with the abundant gains of Kiln, we should be able to make something work here. Alright, let's start this one and go for Spice Merchant. And do we go for Scrap or Develop? Actually, let's click Develop here and go for those 2 extra cards. And this is kind of a bad draw. At least the Develop will find one of the estates, but here I would have liked to see Scrap more than Develop. I think we just buy a silver here. And hitting double 3 is just not far from optimal. And we will want a snowy village at some point or later, but for now, I think we just either add a silver or nothing. Although, no, snowy village is fine. And here this will just be a cantrip, I believe, or could also be card coin if we want to play it a bit risky, but we have 3 action cards down there that we wouldn't want to draw dead, and indeed we find the snowy village. Is there something useful we could top deck? I also don't think so, so let's play it and we hit 5. We want to get in some draw, and that is probably in the form of Sables, but I'm not completely convinced it's better than Paddock. Let's see. The last card is Develop. We again get to top deck something, which probably just wants to be a silver. Worst case, we can scrap it. And yeah, we keep hitting 3 a lot here, mainly due to my opening of Develop. Scrap would have been much better. Yeah, I'm actually not sure whether we even want to add another silver at this point. Maybe it should have been a scrap, but yeah, it's all not optimal. Let's hope we find our Spice Merchant again soon. At least we'll hit 6 for a border village here. Nope, no such luck. But we can go border village. Probably Stables for now, keeping up the draw that way. Or already a Paddock. And we just have so little draw in this deck so far, so Stables will fall off later if we get rid of all of our treasures, but for now, yeah, this should be good. And actually, we could turn this Stables into something like, I don't know, Nomads and Border Village. Is that worth it? And then regain the Stables, but this would top deck the border village and the nomads, so we could scrap. We could even scrap the nomads immediately. I think it's better than anything else. What are the last 2 cards? There's 1 silver down there, maybe a second one. Yeah, no, I'm going for this. Actually, let's top deck the nomads first and then regain. At this point, it might as well be a paddock. Play that. that and scrap the nomads for card, coin, silver horse. Card, coin, horse for sure. The action won't do anything because of the snowy village that we've played. The plus buy we won't need, so yeah, silver it is. We hit 10 and get to add border village stables, I believe. And just another nomads, or no, let's go for a spice merchant. We may as well just develop it later, but um, in which case the nomads would have been better. But yeah, no, things aren't going too well, I'd say. We just had awful early draws. And this now could be either a stampede or just border village something. Maybe this is the time to add a kiln, actually. We do have lots of draw bottom decked here. So, yeah. Yeah, these early shuffles where we continued to only hit 3 for so long, never hitting 5, like being far from actually hitting 5. We're just really bad. AI goes for more of that, okay. And we, I guess, just want to get through loads of this deck. Play that horse. Where's the kiln is the question. As well trash this copper. There it is. I think this kiln wants to gain another border village for us. And do we want to first somehow seal an action card just so we can top deck stuff? I think that's not too outlandish, so maybe seal the horse so it will stay in our deck. Oops, of course. We cannot gain a copy of a horse. This is what I meant to do. First gain a copy of that. We can top deck it and gain another kiln, which we don't want to top deck. Now play this normally. And now we get to top deck some horses. Play this border village. And I feel like we haven't really played this optimally, but I think we've played it well enough. Now here, I think our course of action is to actually play the snowy village now, then develop another border village for something like paddock something, then also maybe, yeah, I think we should be fine with the actions. So go for that. Top deck, why not? Top deck another paddock, which we can draw immediately, I think. And this will be able to set up the next the next turn very nicely. And here now we get to top deck those. We get to develop, I guess, into. Do we want to develop something, or do we just want to scrap the develop? I kind of don't like getting rid of our develop capabilities, but what are we developing here? If we developed a scrap or a silver, we're just top decking Nomad's estate probably, which is kind of junk. So let's not do that. Let's just go for buy coin horse, top deck another horse, seal this and top deck this, not top deck that, and go for more paddocks. And yeah, we can top deck one of them. Maybe another stables, but no, paddocks just look so much juicier now, especially since one pile has emptied. So yeah, I think it just wants to be. Yeah, this is a very complicated kingdom. There's a lot going on, a lot of things you can do with the kiln stuff, with the way of the seal stuff, and it kind of breaks my brain, as developed kingdoms do. But in this case, it's not even develop's fault. And yeah, we are going to probably do the top decking trick again, in which case we can just seal a border village, top deck some horses. Actually, we can also gain another paddock, gain a copy, top deck that, play it normally, and draw into the horses, build up a bit of draw. Let's play that first. And the hopes would be to find another kiln so we can get rid of this last paddock so they can give us more actions even. And to facilitate this, we might want to just simply develop it. Maybe go for that. Well, okay, we can double top deck it. And now, yeah, again, do all of this top decking. So we have a bunch of money piled up already. We now only need to use it somehow. And the way we'll use it might just be gaining lots of nomads. And to do that, we probably... Okay, how are we going to do this? This is already, again, some annoying developed territory. We do have some draw left in this stables. And so, for example, let's say Kiln is developers gaining as a nomads off of a silver. Scrap is probably just scrapping the spice merchant. Then we kill nomads. Do we have more paddock down there? I unfortunately do not remember how the split went, so I believe we probably don't. Yeah, why don't we begin by scrapping this for card, buy, horse, and action, actually? Yeah, if we want to play some of the nomads, then action is best. Top deck the horse. And draw a copper. I guess we just put the copper in the discard. We don't need it at this point. And yeah, I think I've played this horribly suboptimally. But actually, let's top deck the estate first, and then the nomads. Like that. Now go for that. Kill nomads to top deck it. Play it normally. This is... I'm sorry, I'm really breaking my brain at this point, but we can once again kill a nomads. We maybe had the draw to just kill to get 2 more money in general. Play that normally. And now what? I think we, in the end, have a bit of overdraw, a bit of... Actually, even more buys than we would need. But yeah, we hit 35, lots of money, and we can just buy these 3 nomads and still have enough money to triple province and even for an honorary duchy, but no buys left. So yeah, 11 turns, and it only really got explosive towards these last 2 turns, because before that the deck was kind of garbage. But thinning out the coppers and the estates early on seems to have paid off, and I'm happy I got this one over with in an okay amount of turns and without completely getting a headache. And yeah, I think that wraps up the video. And again, I can only recommend to check out the match against Ezra K-Cap. There were some fun games in that one. Again, I will hopefully not forget to link it here in the video somewhere. And yeah, with that, I will leave you here and we'll try to catch you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.